go down the course here. Osprey of the Banesto squad. Spain very Banesto and Once, probably two of the strongest teams that we're likely to see in cycle racing this year. Banesto putting in something like 100,000 was the rumoured contract for the services of Indurain, and another 700,000 for the contract for Delgado. So it's 1.4 million pounds, and if you see it in pesetas, the noughts off the edge of a bit of paper. When I saw the contract in peseta, I couldn't believe it. They had to translate it back into pounds sterling. It looked, even then, a lot of noughts. But that's what it's all about. Cycle racing in Spain receiving enormous coverage on television, and one way of getting your brand name known over a wide area. And Banesto being a bank wants to get over to bank with him, and no addition. Right, 24.31. What's that going to do? In third place for Etsy. Well, some of the. Oh, this is going. This one will go. The time's going to go. That's the new winner we got there. New leader, 24.06. So we've now got a new leader. That from Luc Leblanc has really caught the wall on the hopper. Cameron just got it in time. Thank goodness for that. As these top men come. Prosper on his way up. Here's another good one. Oh. 4 minutes. Change the leaderboard yet again. Banesto, who got their rivals in first and second place in the general classification, look like they're going to get themselves up there again. 23.16, a cracking that was, puts him way up in the lead for Jorospe. 23.16, so they race in the prologue time trial. We saw him finish in the 9th spot just a week ago. He's still desperately for that position, which he established early on in the race. He's been wandering out the top 10. He'd been 9th and 10th overall in general classification, and then of course the big climb up to Marseille, Toulon. He was there with the riders, but slipped back a bit on general classification, and I think that Mount Faron climb really sorted out a few legs, and I wonder really if Indurain recovered from that 26-second beating by Rominger, 12-second beating by Bernard, to have the courage to really have a crack at winning this one today. So back there down the centre of the course, we've not yet picked up the men that matter, the top 5 on general classification. Rolf Goltz then, and here's a fast man, a tremendously quick best performance. He can be on the track past Mano second in the Pursuit Championship of the World, and now he is here. He set a very good time in the time trial on the opening day when he rocketed round the course in 8th spot, just 12 seconds back, and of course early on this year he popped off and caught them all napping in the early season race down there in the Mediterranean. They were all relaxing and not taking much notice, and he clopped off and 3:42. We're having to do some little calculation of what it does to the general classification. Back down the course here, and whilst he's on his way up, let's have a little look at the general classification as it is at the moment. Montoya this year had a very good win on stage 4 in the Ruta del Sol, and we first time seen him on this climb, so I think he can be quite a threat at the moment, because look at Montoya on the classification. He was 25 seconds behind Bernard this morning, and just a mere 14 seconds separating him from Tony Rominger. And here's the position of Rominger. We're looking still back down though at Montoya of Spain. Quite a useful prologue time trial performer in the Tour of Murcia and Tour of Spain in '87. He had a couple of third places. Seems to have gone a bit quiet since then, but this year he's come back with a bit of a bang. And another man who's found form early on in the season, and the crowd here urging on this span. Lying 4th overall this morning when they came up the climb. My notes, let's see what Charlie's going to do and see if he's going to hang on to his place, because Charlie this morning started out in 8th spot, or this afternoon split stage. So Charlie 24.23 and not only in the Pyrenees that he's won twice, but last year winning the Tour of France. And still a very great favourite here, quiet, unassuming man who for years looked after his team leader Pedro Delgado, was given the opportunity last year to show his complete strength and all-round strength, both in his ability to climb down time trial, and although he had bronchitis early on this year and came into the Pyrenees suffering somewhat, he's treated everybody with a real gutsy performance, and had it not been for that problem that he had on the finish of the hill of Mont Follon on the Marseille Toulon stay on stage 6, then would still have been up there at Jersey, which he took over after the time stage on stage 4. Indurain in action further on down the slope. Everybody then here with bated breath to see the battle going on as Giorgio Furlan coming up here. And Furlan, let's see what sort of time we're going to get off him. Just to see if they're going to be 24:36, any shuttling in these minor places, because there are the Furlan start this morning just 5 seconds ahead of Christophe Marin, and Rolf Goltz, though, who should be the next one to see coming in, was 57 seconds down Jean-François. Christophe Marin, well, I don't think he's had a very good climb up here. Yes, he has, my goodness. I thought he'd done better than a minute from Christophe Giorgio Furlan, 24:36, and there he is, a significantly much faster ride, and this is got a new 23:12, so that is a new leader for Christophe Marin. 23:12 is just some 21 seconds outside the record for this climb, which was set by Jean-François Bernard in 1990. Miguel Indurain on his way up the climb, just on this course in 1990 was 23 minutes and 32 seconds, so even if he does that, he won't win this time trial today. To his second that he's got from Jean-François Bernard. Or can he pull back those vital 7 seconds? You can see him really gritting his teeth here, pushing quite big gear. He's quite a tall. You can see by the size of the head stock on his bicycle, but he's not one of the small pocket rockets that you get for climbing mountains. He really is a big punchy rider. Back then, who was leading this race early on, and what a great early season rider he is too. Now coming up to about 30 years of age, he's been in the cycle sport years as such, and he's great time trialist, the great fine ride in the Grand Prix National in 86, and that one has surprised everybody, and since then he's shown his all-round ability. If you're watching Eurosport's coverage of the Tour of Lombardy a couple of years ago, he won a great man for early season and season racing. Way back in 1990, won the Tirreno Adriatico, which takes place at the same time of the Pyrenees. And the reason he does well at the early season, forgive me, some people may have just come in to see him in action, is because Rominger suffers from hay fever at the height of the season and had difficulty breathing. So the man breathing extremely well so far in this race, because when we had the Prologue time trial just 1 week ago, he rocketed around the 5.7 kilometre circuit in 6 minutes and 45 seconds. Rominger really punching hard here, taking that white jersey on day one, kept it through a couple of days, and Cipollini, the Italian sprinter par excellence, was winning stages, but lost it when his team, Klaas, could only finish 8th in the team time trial. Been battling back since Rominger won the stage from Marseille to Toulon, up Mont Follon, looking back down to see what we're going to get here. Still again inside this magic 24, juggling with all the times here to see what the general classification is going to look like at the end of the battle. Going on further down there, 23. 6th then for Rolf Goltz.
Ce qui le met à 44 secondes du meilleur temps.
51 this morning, 57 seconds adrift from Jean-François. Best time we've got so far, 23:12, and that was by Christophe Marin. 3,300, that's it on the left-hand side. Rominger, the star performer on this climb. Last year of the Pyrenees, has got to really throw down the gauntlet. He came up last year in 23:53. He's got tremendous knowledge of this sort of climb here, but Jean-Francois Bernard, who's starting last of all, is the stronger at the moment. There we are at the halfway point. Rominger, in fact, was ahead of Jean-Francois Bernard by 1 second. Khalosmi, who was leading at one time on this climb, was back in third spot. Give me some idea of the effort this rider's putting in for it. Has he started too fast, too soon, though? This sort of time trialing is all about judgment on the way up a long climb. You can blow, and the man with that suddenly wipes seconds off as Jesus Montoya coming up the road now. Montoya started this morning in fourth place, just 25 seconds down on the leader, Jean-Francois Bernard. And he's going to put up a cracking time as well. He's not going to take the lead, but that'll be another benchmark then for the people to follow. 23:36 for Jesus Montoya. In third spot at the moment. And that was 20 seconds better than Rolf Goltz, so Goltz isn't going to catch him on the general classification. But Rominger, who was just some 14 seconds adrift, has already shown that early on he's the man to go. And unlucky for some is 13. For this man, Jean-Francois Bernard, wearing number 13 on his back, it could be his lucky day. And can he win this great race then? Bernard being cheered on all the way up. Who's unfortunately had a bit of a hectic season last year, but he came back in to ride for Benesto to show that by no means was he over and done with. Jean-Francois Bernard here enlivening this race in fine style and all along the course, because at one time this man was tipped to be the rider that would in fact take over from Bernard Hinault. He failed in fact to live up to his reputation in those days, and people began to write him off. But now he's come back in fine style, he's got the white jersey, and he knows how to climb this hill at a great rate or not, and this is the man that he's got to beat. So still then, the battle between Tony Rominger and Jean-Francois Bernard rages up and down this hill. Slightly flatter part of the course up here for Tony Rominger. He's really beginning to move now. What a success list he's had over the years then, as Indurain on his way up as well. Indurain this morning set out just 7 seconds adrift of Jean-Francois Bernard. 23:16. This is the benchmark then, 23:25. Let us see then what happens further back down the course, because we've got just two riders to come up, just two on the course. This is a cliffhanger with Jean-Francois Bernard on his way up, the last man to go, and up in front the phalanx of motorcycles clearing a way for him. Slender seconds in from Miguel Indurain when they start this time trial. Indurain already finishing at 23:25, and so he's got to stay within 7 seconds of that. So on a quick calculation here, 7 to that makes 32. So he's got to be inside 23:32 to take the success. Rominger coming up now. They split these on the climb. What's Rominger going to do? 20, look at that, 22:22. Rominger absolutely is going to throw the gauntlet down. Can he win it on the final day up this mountain? This is a cracking ride, and it really is going to cause some trouble for those two men still on the course, or one man on the course, because as he comes across the line, it takes him into the 22:38. That is absolutely tremendous. It breaks the record of the course. A new record, 22:38, gives him the record, gives him possibly the win in the Pyrenees. Now Jean-Francois Bernard, this is the man who this morning, as we started up this climb, had just 11 seconds lead over Tony Rominger. So with Tony Rominger, that means that it's 22:42 is what he's got to beat. 22:43. That's what he's got to be inside. 22:43 to win if my arithmetic's correct. I've got bits of paper all over the place here. What a humdinger. Watch that clock on the right-hand side then. These two riders separated by 11 seconds this morning, Rominger and Jean-Francois Bernard. 22:32 the time, add 11 onto that, 22:43 it'll be, and that's his target, and way up there the crowd is waiting anxiously, checking their watches likewise. Indurain has already come in across the line, 23:25, and that was a full minute slower than Tony Rominger. So Indurain, actually, he's not going to win the race. Rominger has now climbed over the top of Miguel Indurain, but this man is really giving it some stick. And crowd cheering, the noise, and the team manager is shouting in the megaphone, and there is the battle. It's going to be 22:43 to according to my clock calculation here, and it's going to be, I think, a win for Bernard. He's got this one of the... He's got to come round that corner and sprint down the finishing straight. He could probably do it. Come on then, Jean-Francois. It looks like he's back with a bang. This could be the victor of the Paris, subject to conversation. 22. That is phenomenal, according to my calculation. Jean-Francois has taken the Paris-Nice just by the sniffle biscuit. That'll have to wait though till the proper calculations are done on a proper computer rather than the scribble bits of paper here in this excited commentary box. What a cracking race. But if we have races like that for the rest of this year, I should think that you good people will be queuing up. You haven't got your jolly old satellite dishes or watching this in a friend's house to go and get them, because this bike racing at the moment is getting better and better. Bike rides are coming back, and they're on 22:15, turning over to 23 seconds back. They stop separated by, so there's no doubt about it, Jean-Francois Bernard has got all the classics coming up as well as the tours played. The rest of this year we're going to think that 1992 will be one of those classic years. So, and then Paris-Nice.